Somewhere, a light has just been turned off. The day has lightly settled, folding its quiet corners into the stillness around you. You might feel the gentle weight of your body against the surface beneath you. Perhaps your eyes are beginning to feel heavy. And somewhere, in the drifting spaces between thoughts, there is a calm invitation to simply be, to watch, in a quiet, almost invisible way, how the world moves in gentle patterns. Tonight, we will drift together, softly, into a small part of that movement, a simple, deliberate pattern, something with a rhythm, almost like breathing, almost like the slow ticking of a distant clock. That pattern is about order, about gentle, patient arranging. We will explore 3 ways that simple lists of numbers, or ideas, or moments, can move from being a little tangled to being aligned in a calm and orderly way. These ways are called sorting methods. Specifically, tonight, we will look at 3 classic methods: bubble sort, insertion sort, and selection sort. Each has its own quiet rhythm, its own way of nudging things into place. Even in a world that often feels rushed, these methods remind us that sometimes taking small, careful steps is enough. Imagine a row of pebbles lying across a gentle riverbank. Each pebble is a little different, some larger, some smaller. They are scattered, and you wish to place them from smallest to largest, not hurriedly, not with force, just gradually, nudging one pebble at a time until the row seems to settle naturally. This is the rhythm that bubble sort carries. Bubble sort moves step by step through a line of items. Imagine a soft wave passing over the pebbles. The wave touches the first 2, and if the first is bigger than the second, it nudges them, allowing them to swap places. Then the wave continues, touching the next pair. Each small swap is like a tiny sigh of adjustment, a movement toward balance. With each pass of this gentle wave, the largest pebble drifts slowly toward the end, finding its place, as if drawn by a quiet gravity. The next pass nudges the remaining pebbles, and the one after that. It's a patient process. Not fast, not harsh, just deliberate and flowing, like soft clouds moving across a pale sky. There is something soothing about this. To watch or imagine each small movement, each tiny exchange, gradually revealing subtle order beneath apparent chaos. Bubble sort is not the fastest. It does not rush. But in its persistence, it is peaceful. It is methodical. It has a rhythm that can lull the mind. A slow, measured heartbeat of arrangement. Now imagine that you are seated at a quiet desk, late at night. Outside, the trees are still. The air is gentle and cool. In front of you is a small stack of cards, each with a number written lightly in pencil. You pick the first card and set it down. Then the next. You compare it to the first and place it either before or after, depending on its value. Then the next. Each card finds its place among those already laid down. This is insertion sort. Insertion sort is like a careful hand arranging objects on a table. Each new element slips into place among the others, without disturbing more than necessary. It is quiet, it is unobtrusive, and it builds order incrementally. You might imagine each card as a note in a simple melody. As the cards settle, the melody becomes clearer, each note finding its place. There is a slow unfolding, one piece at a time, that does not demand hurry, but careful attention. In some ways, insertion sort is like walking along a forest path at dusk. You move slowly, noticing each stone, each fallen leaf. You step lightly, adjusting your path as needed. And in doing so, the path becomes clear, naturally lined. There is comfort in such small movements. Each one matters just enough, and the sum gradually transforms a scattered set into something calm and orderly. Now, let us take another gentle look. Imagine again the riverbank, the scattered pebbles. But this time, you move differently. You look at all of them quietly, searching for the smallest among them. Once you find it, you place it at the beginning of the row. Then you search the remaining pebbles for the next smallest and place it in its spot. You continue, slowly, patiently, until the entire row has found its quiet place. This is selection sort. Selection sort has a kind of intentional patience. It is not hurried. It is a method of observation and careful decision. At each stage, there is a soft pause, a moment of reflection. Which pebble, which element belongs next? And then, gently, it is placed. There is a subtle satisfaction in this process. Each placement feels deliberate, almost ceremonial. Each element's movement is measured and definitive, and yet there is still calm in deliberate attention. We might imagine selection sort as a slow, wandering walk through a quiet garden. You look for the flower that shines a little brighter, or rests a little nearer to perfection. You pause. You bend. You place it among the others. And then you continue. Over time, the garden becomes ordered, but the ordering is so gentle that it almost feels as though nothing has changed, yet everything has. These three methods, each simple, quiet, deliberate, carry a rhythm that is almost meditative. Bubble sort is a soft wave, moving items slowly toward their place. Insertion sort is a careful hand, placing one element at a time among those already settled. Selection sort is a gentle eye, observing and placing the smallest element in its position. Each has its own beauty. Each has a calming, unhurried rhythm. Perhaps the mind, if it allows itself to drift, can see them as reflections of how we arrange thoughts, moments, or the clutter of a day. Sometimes we move things around gradually, nudging them slightly each time until they fall into place. Sometimes we place one thing carefully after another, patiently building order. And sometimes we pause and observe, picking each item deliberately. There is a quietness in all of these, a soft, subtle reminder that order can emerge without haste. Imagine a line of tiny stars in the night sky. They are scattered, some brighter, some dimmer, and slowly, through a kind of cosmic nudging, they begin to align, forming gentle, shimmering patterns. The stars do not hurry. They do not rush. And yet, gradually, a pattern emerges that is soft, satisfying, quietly beautiful. Bubble sort moves like that wave across pebbles, nudging the largest toward the edge. Insertion sort places each star, one at a time, into the emerging constellation. Selection sort observes carefully, finding the next star that fits best, and positions it with gentle care. All three methods are different, yet share the same quiet intention: to bring order, to create gentle harmony, to allow a scattered set of elements to find their place. If we think of these methods as movements, as rhythms, it is almost like listening to a soft piece of music. There are recurring patterns, small variations, gentle pauses. The repetition is comforting, not demanding. The predictability is soothing. You can imagine yourself, perhaps lying comfortably, noticing these patterns and letting them echo softly in the mind, like a slow, comforting pulse. There is no rush here. There is no need to understand every detail. There is only the slow, patient unfolding of each step. And as the mind watches this gentle unfolding, it can drift. Thoughts may soften, tension may ease. The day's noise may fall away, leaving a calm, quiet space. In that space, it is possible to observe the flow, to imagine a wave moving along a row of pebbles, to picture a hand placing one card after another, to sense the careful eye selecting each element in turn. There is serenity in this simplicity. There is quiet beauty in the small, consistent acts that lead to harmony. Perhaps, as the mind drifts deeper, the boundaries between pebbles, cards, and stars blur. Perhaps the elements themselves become shapes in the soft night, moving gently toward a quiet, ordered balance. The details are not as important as the rhythm, the flow, the unfolding sequence. It is like watching smoke rise from a small flame, curling slowly, gracefully, until it disappears into the calm air above. As the smoke rises, as the pebbles settle, as the cards align, a soft sense of satisfaction forms. Not a rush, not a triumph, but a quiet acknowledgement of order and calm. Everything moves at its own pace, in its own time. And so can the mind. Somewhere, the world has likely grown quieter. The lights dim, the air carries a softness, and the small rhythms of bubble sort, insertion sort, and selection sort drift softly in the imagination. They are slow, deliberate, gentle. They are reminders that small, careful movements can create harmony, that patience has its own quiet reward, that sometimes just watching, just noticing, is enough. Perhaps by now the mind follows these rhythms naturally, without effort, without intention. Perhaps the eyelids are heavy. Perhaps the breath is slow and even. And in this space, it is possible to rest, to let the soft flow of order, the gentle nudging and careful placement wash over the mind like a calm, invisible tide. There is no ending here. There is no need for one. The wave continues. The hand continues. The eye continues. And the quiet, gentle movement of elements into place can carry on as long as needed. And so, in this gentle unfolding, in this slow, careful rhythm, it is possible to drift, to rest, to float in the soft, unhurried movement of order until sleep finds its quiet place. The river continues. Cards lie softly on the table. The pebbles settle along the bank, and the stars above are still, slowly arranging themselves in patterns only they can know. And as you drift here, in this gentle presence, the world feels calm, safe, unhurried, soft, and it can remain this way